What is up, everyone? Welcome to Toffee Blues USA, your source for all things Everton, American style. I am Gerry. After being on sabbatical, let's say that hiatus. I was gone for a while. I'll explain a little bit more later. But before I do that, I'm going to stop talking about myself for a second. I'm gonna bring in everyone's favorite bearded man. I've had a beard before, but there's no way I've been that well loved as this guy. He's and he's one of the few people that when he laughs, his eyes look maybe smaller than mine. I didn't know that was possible. Uh, we're bringing in and welcoming back the I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it right just this once. Bozy Toffee. Uh, Aaron Free is joining us all the way from the tippy top of Michigan, maybe even into Canada at this point. Aaron, thank you for being here, buddy.
Hey, thanks for having me. Absolutely ecstatic to have been asked on again. Not gonna lie, I've missed these shows on a Monday morning. Get me through the Monday morning blues. But yes, it's good to see you back. So thanks again for having me on. Honestly, it's a right honour and pleasure. So,
Yeah.
and the reason why my eyes are so small when I laugh is because my little chubby cheeks. And they go.
I don't know, man. By the way, I have no idea how to respond. I've never been in the scenario where I've been beside someone else and they go, "My eyes do this because of my chubby cheeks." And I'm like, I don't know what to do with that.
First for everything.
So been gone for a while. Haven't done the show for a while. Basically, personal life got really hectic. There you go. Had some illness in the family, some death in the family stuff, and actually you'll notice I'm in a different place. Well, me and my wife and kids, we moved 5 minutes down the road, and we're about to close selling our old house. So now we're in a different place. So it was just a lot of life stuff. To be honest with you, though, I did miss seeing my blue friends that are all over the place. So yeah, that's one of the cool things about doing the show is, it's like I'm going to have a beer with a friend, but I'm minus the beer. I would love one.
Soon though.
Why not? Yes, it's gonna have to be after this, I think. So Aaron, what have you been up to, man? Let's just go ahead and talk life for a minute before we start getting because I've missed a lot of Everton, so there's just been a lot that's gone by while we haven't been doing the show. So what's been going on with you?
It wasn't a lot to miss, probably between the period of October and end of January. But yes, no. Firstly, congratulations on the new house. Sorry for your obviously personal things. It's really good to see you back. So I'm ecstatic about that. I'm sure the others are too. As for myself, I think when we last spoke, I was on the way to back to Glasgow for the Christmas period for my daughter's birthday. And for the second year in a row, it was a COVID disaster. Everything just got completely ruined.
I remember you talking about that. I'm so sorry.
It's just I could go on about the UK government for how long have we got? So the
question marks. We got a while.
So yeah, it was just a shame. It was her 13th birthday, so try to celebrate her teenage years. But it was nice. We had a smaller kind of family thing instead of a big to do that I'd originally planned. But no, we had a good time. Then we had plans to go to the Chelsea game, and my sister who lives in London said, "Don't come. Omicron's everywhere." So I decided not to go, and I'm devastated because it was such a good game, especially when Jared Branthwaite scored that equaliser, and I went absolutely ballistic. We had such a depleted squad as well. And then a few days later, I managed to score tickets to the Leicester game. on the Sunday after, and then that got cancelled because Leicester's bending of the COVID rules. But hey ho, is what is. So then, no, apart from that, we had our own little Christmas stuff. We came back, and I've just been pretty much working. That's it. Just working. Loving the lake house. It's pretty cold. The dogs are loving it. My wife loves it. So yeah, not really too much going on in the past couple months.
Yeah, anybody who follows Aaron on Twitter sees his pictures of like these beautiful winter wonderland. It's like this just gorgeous looking, and then you'll randomly see him say, "Oh, by the way, it's not insulated," and you're just like, "Good Lord!" You know, it's the beard serves a warming purpose as well, evidently.
That too, it gets a bit itchy, but there's a few nights I've spent like fully clothed in bed, so no, but apart from that, it's beautiful. I love it. We got a good deal, so it's nice.
Aaron, we're aware that you just said that to make sure that no one is picturing you in your bed in your silk boxers. He knows you can't handle it, audience, is what's actually he's like, I'm fully clothed, I show no skin, don't get turned on by my hotness, my Bowsy Toffee Tit hotness. Just no more picturing me in my Speedo. Yeah, it's
the silk is just nice on the skin, basically. Right? It feels great.
Okay, I'm gonna say this once. I'm gonna say this once, just so I don't gross everybody out. I've had a pair of the underwear made of silk, and frankly, and what's funny is I had it when I was a teenager. So I'm gonna tell you, it's maybe it feels too good. It feels too good. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna leave it with. I'll let you use your imagination.
Barney the dinosaur.
It's just, it was a problem. It was a problem. Silk boxers are a menace.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So there we go. So I didn't know we were gonna roll into this.
Yeah, I know, right? That's one for the mental bank right there. So
yeah,
thank you. It's a good start.
Yeah, I'm here for the visuals that I'm trying to avoid, but I still bring you. So you've been working, kind of keeping busy.
Yep.
Just kind of some basic stuff. I feel like since it's been a while, we haven't probably done a whole lot of talking about new management appointment. So Everton's new management appointment. Let's quickly tell me your vibes on Frank. Were you a fan from the beginning? Has he slowly won you over a little bit more as you've gone, or were you just like gung-ho about him from the start? Like, what are your thoughts on Frank?
I'm going to go a bit historically, just back at his Chelsea days, because I do feel like he was kind of unfortunate, but fortunate for us in a way, as I'll get on to. But I think he did extremely well his first season, given the limited resources he had, the transfer ban, really like bedding in the youth, like Mount, Abraham, Reece James, like players of that quality who became absolutely brilliant. And I always thought he came across really well in his interviews, post-match, pre, and stuff like that. So I was kind of really excited, and I thought he was the better man for it, rather than who was the guy that came on to Sky Sports? Vitor Pereira. Yeah. He did this gnarly interview for Sky Sports. But I did think, from what the rumours about his backroom team, Joe Edwards, he was taken from Chelsea, Paul Clement, who was Carlo Ancelotti's right-hand man at Real, PSG, and Bayern. I just thought that assembling that type of quality in the backroom staff, I thought was going to be key, not only to our players but our young players as well, given his history of bedding them in. So I was excited, and his first interview, you were just like, oh wow, yeah, he He knows his stuff. I think so. I was excited, and I know it's been indifferent his start, but I have to say I think it's been a great appointment, and he's endeared himself to the fans. He's endeared himself to the club. He's like, you can tell he's proper soaked it in. He doesn't quite know the city as much as Rafael Benitez yet, but yeah, sorry, who? And but yeah, I think he's already a fan favourite, even though the results really haven't gone away. Some in cheating ways, but yeah, anyway, yeah. I think it's brilliant. I think it's brilliant appointment. I think he'll do well, and yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, backroom staff went a long way toward convincing me.
Yeah.
Went a long. Yeah, I mean, the research that I did on these folks, I felt great. I felt great about when I heard about them. I wasn't immediately like, yes, let's get him. From the beginning, I wasn't when we hired him. He was my preferred choice over the couple of the options that were voiced as being, the other possibilities. But yeah, I think we're lacking some consistency right now. So it feels very like, on again, off again, which, okay. But I see flickers of hope, and Everton are a lot of times a fun team to watch right now.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, right? We've had, in my opinion, in my memory, in my 37 years of painfully watching Everton, I think this might be the worst season for injuries that we've had. The amount of injuries we've had is diabolical, and at key times as well. You know what I mean? Doucouré, Godfrey, both on the same day against Newcastle. Gray as well. Just bad. But so that obviously hasn't helped. But I think you're right. There's been you can tell there's been a change in intensity in our style of play, apart from the away games, but definitely at home. And the past couple games at Goodison, the atmosphere has been absolutely electric. Back to its good days. So anyway, yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. No, I'm with you, and I want to talk a little bit about the City game. It's been kind of done to death. But really quick before I do, I want to mention, I should have said this should have been the first thing. I got this in the mail, and I want to shout a big thank you to Toffee Blues John, who sent it in the mail to me. It was a welcome package, and I was the only one in the fam who didn't have one yet. My whole family got one, and so it's very cool, and I've been anxiously awaiting being able to wear this on the first recording back. So I'm pretty excited. I feel really really fortunate. It was very cool. So John, I want to say thanks for that, and yeah, I should have led the show with that, and yeah. Anyway, so one other thing before we get into City, I need to say this. It's an announcement. It's an announcement. So this is sort of an announcement thing too, and you already know. You can pretend like it's the first time I told you that, but you already know. Yes, that's good. Yes, and for the people listening via podcast, I'm sure they'll be able to hear your wonder. So this April, coming to the north of England, me and my son Bennett are going there for like a football tour, but really it's my kid is going to be playing some soccer games and doing some soccer training over there, and he's 9, and it's an absurd opportunity, and we feel really fortunate that he's got a good little team, and he's a decent little player. So he's going to get to play against some of these English academies, and they'll probably get just whacked, and that's but they need the experience. They need to see what it's like. They need to see what,
Yeah.
just, what the culture's like in terms of the sport. And they need to see what hunger for playing looks like. So,
That's incredible. That's awesome. What an opportunity for him
yeah,
as well as you. So
we bought tickets and everything. We bought our plane tickets the other day. Holy
amazing.
crap, it's real. It doesn't feel real yet. So April 8th through 17th will be in the north. I'm not sure which. I'm going to be doing my best to get to Goodison. There's 2 games in that stretch. I think there's one on the 9th, and I think there's one on the 16th. I think it's United is the 9th.
I would avoid United like the plague that day, because it's also Grand National Day, like the hour after. So the whole of that area, because Aintree is really close to Goodison, is going to be bananas. But
This
no,
is
having said that, it would probably still be an amazing atmosphere. Having said that, now I think about it, but it's yeah, they've scheduled it like an hour, 2 hours before the Grand National. So
oh
it's
my
like,
gosh.
I know,
I didn't realize that. I had seen that that one of those games was scheduled around Grand National, but I was sort of hoping it was a different one. Okay.
And I have to, it's just on that, because it's the 9th of April is my sister's birthday, Rebecca's birthday, and she has this ridiculous luck of picking a winner on the Grand National. I think she's like 6 years in a row or something mental like that, where she's picked the winner. So maybe I'll ask her for the advice, I'll ask her for the winner, and I'll send you a little text or tweet or something and say, hey, put all your money, put your house, put Bennett on this this horse, because it's a cert. But
yeah, that's
anyway, sorry.
see, it's like we're going on like this. It's this whole like tour. So we'll be like in the mainly we'll be like in the Durham area. So we'll I know they're going to be playing it like I know they're playing against a Sunderland team. They're playing against a Middlesbrough team.
Awesome.
Playing against a Barnsley team, and so it's like we're kind of going to be traveling in that area. They're going to be training in that area. They're going to be going to St. George's Park, where the national team trains. So it's like,
wow.
And I guess I'm just going to be the creepy dad who watches. Is that my role? I guess. I'm assuming there'll be stuff to do.
Guardian. Treat yourself as a guardian, because that's technically a right thing. But you're also you could dip your toes in Scotland. You're that close to the border, and being in Durham.
Yeah, it'll be really close.
Motherland.
Yeah, that's we actually, because my wife got a job on a political campaign. She's a campaign manager, and so she didn't feel like she could go. She was like, I got a new job, I can't go. And so her and our younger son Turner are going to be staying. But I told Turner, I was like, look, man, you can pick the next place we go. We're going to travel somewhere. You pick it. It's going to be really, he has a bizarre obsession with Scotland. It's really, I don't understand it. It's just he has latched on to Scotland. So I don't know if that's actually, but if that's a thing, then you and I have to have long conversations about what the heck's to come with that. Oh my God. It was like, you're going to send me like a notebook full of like, detailed, this is what you have to do in this precise order.
Exactly. Be prepared.
But actually, you know what? I usually prefer having somebody tell me that kind of stuff. So anyway, so yeah, that England trip was going to be happening. So hopefully going to be meeting up with some of my Toffee Blues friends that I've been sitting here talking to for years and years. And maybe some other folks pop up who, don't like me. Hey, so like, hey, you're that asshole on Toffee Blues USA. Yeah, I know you. Buy me a pint, Gerry. Because you've talked in my ear and it's been enough. I hate your dad jokes. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about the City match.
Sure.
It's one that I don't know that a lot of Evertonians actually thought that they'd have much of a chance with that one.
Yep.
There was a lot of negativity rolling into it. Every once in a while, I'd see one person go, "Hey, I fancy us tomorrow," and I'm like, "Oh, awesome, cool." And before the game, there was a show of support for the 2 Ukrainian players.
Yep, and which was, I mean, if you didn't have a tear in your eye watching that, especially when Zinchenko went up to hug him, I mean, I don't think I could ever believe what those poor people in Ukraine are going through. So it's heartbreaking, and that solidarity from both teams was absolutely incredible. The whole stadium as well was just absolutely incredible. Yeah, nice to see.
Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of one of those moments where it seemed fully necessary, and if it's not done, then you're wondering what the hell they're thinking if they don't do something like that. So that happens. It's a moment. It's a human moment. It's and then the game begins. Everton are starting. Decore's back, so that was nice because I think there's an argument to say our best player or one of. You can
easily.
I think some would make that argument. So yeah, I love him. And we've missed him. Absolutely missed him in the middle. So he and Van de Beek and Alan kind of run in the middle. Then we had John Joe Kinney running on the left, Coleman on the right, Keane and Holgate, Pickford obviously, and then running striker, you've got Charleston and then Gordon and Iwobi. It has not always been terrible since Frank has been here.
He will be.
By the way, I got a question or a statement. I'm calling him Frank because it's quicker, not because I know him personally, and I realize it's probably super cringy for some people, and I'm sorry. It just happens. It's so our manager, So
it's better than me saying Franny Lamps. I've been saying Franny Lamps. Franny Lamps all over Twitter. So, but that's what I've got. That's what I'm calling him. I'm calling Doucouré Dr. Dre, and I'm determined to make that work.
Did you say Dr. Dre?
Dr. Dre, right? I know, right?
I love that.
I know,
that's
right?
Terrible.
I'm trying to make it a thing.
I love
I'm trying to make it a thing. Yeah, I know. It's so bad. I'm like,
yes.
I'm
you. By the way, I see all your interactions with Chico Azul. I see it. And this is a very Chico thing. Chico probably thinks I'm just like the cringiest guy ever, and it's the worst. And I hate knowing that that's like my favorite comedy writer. But you, Dr. Dre, I can't even say it right. Dr. Dre. Frankly, it's that's worthy. That's a Chico worthy. Yeah.
I think so too. I actually think he booed me for it. He said boo.
Good.
In response to it.
Good. If you get a boo from Chico, that's bad. That's great.
Yeah, it's so good.
Speaking of dad jokes, hey, it's not just me. So and then so Wobby's wasn't that bad. Could be worse. Honestly, we had chances in the first half. Not a bad half from us.
Yeah, we were excellent, I thought, in the first half. We obviously, when you play against City, they're going to have possession, right, in abundance. But the thing that just is key and was the demise of Rafa was we needed 3 in the middle, and that's just so evident so many times during the season. And Doucouré and now Donny, because I don't think Gomez. It's a shame because he's heartbreaking, so bloody handsome too. But Donny and Doucouré basically unleashes a different side of Alan, and Alan just completely snuffed out Kevin De Bruyne the whole game pretty much, right? And didn't let him do anything. City's main architect. So it was great to have Doucouré back. Couldn't believe he lasted the whole 90. That was shocking, but also amazing. Yeah, but we had a good few chances in that first half, for sure. And Kenny was decent. He snuffed out Bernardo Silva on that right hand side or left hand side for him, and not in his favoured position, which is also good. And Iwobi, again, his tracking back was excellent. His tracking back, his intensity, is like pressing. He was solid. But I have to say kudos to Rishi, who was on his own up front, but held the ball up so well. Was a constant menace. Constant menace.
Yeah, it was. Was it me, or did it look like there was one point where Anthony Gordon had the ball at the top of the box and Richarlison was like just really close to him, and then finally he just tripped him and got out of the way?
That's right. That's right. They both got each other. He just like, oh, and then just took it right off and just carried on. Yeah, that was funny.
I don't think he meant to do it, but I think his feet got mixed. And it totally, if you wanted to be like cynical, you're like, he just tripped him and got it the hell out of the way.
Get out my way. It's my time to shine.
Yeah, so decent chances. Richarlison had a really good chance at the beginning, or not the beginning, but in the first half, where when you watch the replay, it looks like he might have been offsides. It's the one he put right at the keeper, right at Ederson. Got power on it, but just didn't put it to any side. But it did look like he might have been offside when that ball was played to him. So, by the way, really working hard at not doing the American thing and saying offsides, because I know some British folk that are like, they're like, that is the worst, and it's not offsides. It's not multiple infractions. It's offside. Get it together. And so now it's like every time I accidentally say it, I'm like, so yeah. I am super self-conscious about this stuff.
Well, you know what? I'm just gonna start saying offsides, just for the hell of it, just to stick it up to those Everton section of Everton fans that have take such issues. So yeah, he wasn't offsides, or he was close to being offsides even.
It was close, yeah.
But the chance for Kenny.
What's been going on there? And he took it left-footed, right?
I know.
Which is, a little unheard of, right?
So I mean, it was a clear good chance, and I think he could have stopped himself, because I think Diaz was going to go flying past him. And I think if he just stopped it and got it onto his right, we could have had a. But I mean, you're in the heat of the moment. You're a right back playing at left back, and you find yourself in the 6-yard box. You know what I mean? What are you gonna?
And you're playing City, by the way.
Yeah, true. But no, he's I mean, he's been different class, and I think, well, apart from the away games, and like we can touch on them in a bit, but there's definitely been a difference. But definitely at Goodison, he's been different class. Like,
it's almost like we have like 2 world-class left backs on our coaching staff.
Hell yeah, the best. I mean, if like, and I, God, like, love him, and we all want the best for him. We all want the best for his country and his people. But with Mikolenko, with Leighton Baines and Ashley Cole, seriously, if he doesn't become like the best defender in the world in like 2-3 years, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So,
it's interesting, because we have a question coming up about what we think, if injuries are all straight, what we think Lampard's first 11 will be. And that left back spot is interesting. You know what I mean? So but yeah, it's an interesting one. And I love a good story. I love a good story, especially a player that people tend to have written off, which I think Kenny was written off. We were not considering him as a viable backup right back at all.
No.
Because he had a chance, and I think we were kind of like, but
and it didn't materialize at Celtic either, for whatever reasons. And
Yeah.
he kind of alluded to that he was struggling up there, and you feel sorry. He did an interview after the first game he was back in the team, and he did awesome. And he was open and honest, and he said, "I had to kick myself basically up the ass and say I want to be a professional footballer, so
Wow.
get your head straight." And he got his head straight, and he put his head down, and by the sounds of, he's really impressed Frank Lampard in training, and he's impressed the Goodison faithful as well. So
Yeah,
kudos to him.
I'm a huge fan of players that get kind of written off and you think they're done, and then kind of rising up. I love it. I love it. I don't know. I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff.
There's another Phoenix rising from the ashes in the Newcastle team, in Joe Linton, like completely written off as a number 9. Eddie Howe comes in, puts him into the midfield, and he looks like Kaka. It is
Like, what the
insane.
crap is happening?
Oh
Yeah.
my! It's like he's absolutely brilliant. So there you go. Anyway, sorry, I know it's not Everton related, but I just thought it was funny that the kind of the players that have been written off, they're just suddenly coming back. And
I mean, it's a trend. I think anybody who has watched this show or listened to this podcast knows that I've got a soft spot for players that have just taken so much crap, that have just taken so much, and maybe rightly so. Maybe their work ethic flagged. And I love a turnaround, man. I love a turnaround. Seeing redemption. It's cool. So anyway, so very cool. And honestly, that's I'm not gonna say that about Iwobi yet. I think he's got a little ways to go. But yeah, I like him playing and not being terrible.
which he hasn't done in the past 2 games at Goodison for sure. So I'm hoping, look, I've been one of the top ones to say he shouldn't be anywhere near the squad, but maybe he's got the right people behind him, coaching him and giving them that confidence to just say play. You know what I mean? Because he's clearly got something, right? But hopefully, that would be the biggest. That would be the biggest Phoenix from the ashes if he turned it around at Everton for sure.
Yeah, that would be. I think if he comes in and puts in a shift every once in a while and has us not sitting there shaking our heads, I think that's going a long way to start. So.
And he put in a couple of those performances under Carlo as well, and then
he did.
And then
he did. I remember. That's when they started the Iwobi stuff, man.
That's right. Yeah.
Which was hilarious.
Hilarious.
So second half. Yeah. I just want to go. Can we go straight to their goal? And can I just say how disappointing that is to watch it and rewatch it and keep realizing that it actually happened?
Yeah. It was a disappointing way, an undeserving way to lose a goal. We contained them excellently. Majority of the game, you could tell we were getting tired. The players were putting in some shift. I believe the phase that done us was Seamus and Iwobi not blocking the cross. I think they should have done more to block the cross. And it hit, obviously, the deflection, which I get it. Right? Mick Keggers, he's been hit and miss. He's had a fair few mistakes this season. But you could see he was already going to where the ball was going. And then the sudden change in direction, he just is like his boot just slipped. It was so bizarre. And
it looked almost flat-footed. It almost looked flat-footed, like he had gone back on his heels and had to, and he could not find a purchase on the ground to actually be able to plant. It was weird. And I'll just go ahead and tell you something. Mad respect to you for not immediately blaming Mike Keane on that. Mike Keane, I'm an idiot. Mick Keggers, Mike. Nobody calls him Mike. Hell's wrong with me? Michael Keane.
Yo, Mikey.
Mikey, yay. So, but yeah, I mean, respect to you on that though, because the easy thing to do is to blame that, because that's the obvious mistake. But you're right. I think you get more energy in their legs, they block that cross.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
I think that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yep, and then the fox in the box, Foden. He's just always there. He's been quality for City the past couple of years, and just unfortunate. And it was a shame for probably the one player that didn't deserve it was probably Pickford, who had an outstanding game.
But great.
He made that double save and early on in the second half that was just absolutely world class.
Yep.
World class.
It was.
So
I mean, there's a lot of things not deserving about that game. So we're gonna transition into a topic that no one has talked about all week. No one. This is brand new, exclusive.
Hot off the press.
I just wish there were more opinions about this. It's not surprising we were victims of another refereeing error. What is surprising to me, dude, and I'm just going to say this, I'm going to jump to the future, which is actually the past earlier today. But I don't remember a time where Everton had made a stand about crap refereeing like this. And I don't remember a time where they flat out said it. They just don't say it often. Too many times it's like they're worried about being fined.
And that's to me is one of the biggest issues. And I know our good friend Yoshi9 has sent us a really good question on Reddit, like just about the standard refereeing in general. And so I think yes, it was justified. I think the whole world knew it was justified that we complained that Frank Lampard actually had the balls to come out and say, look, it's a clear handball. There was a lot of confusion around it with regards to Richarlison being offside in the first phase of play, which turned out to be that wasn't actually the case.
Yeah, the commentators had improper information. I know, I mean, Arlo White in the American feed was talking about how they were not given the right information.
But the thing that just ruined it for all the American fans watching was that NBC put their own white line on the screen to show like that Richarlison was offside, but it showed that the City players' legs were like way beyond the white line. So you're like, what?
Yeah.
Like it was so bizarre. So obviously Tim Howard's like immediately was like, oh well, like, he's offside. That means that shouldn't be given a penalty. But then I think they kind of shot themselves in the foot, and the next day they realised yes, it was definitely a penalty. So, but what was I going to say? So the referee doesn't have a clear view of it. Obviously, it goes to VAR. Chris Kavanagh, VAR. Chris Kavanagh's infamous for the Man United goal. If you remember that when Gylfi was on the deck.
Yes.
He didn't give it to us.
Was he also the one who gave Carlo a red card after the match was over?
Yes, I think so. And it was because Lloris, a goalkeeper had taken down Rishi, and then he was in VAR or it was inconclusive. He went to the monitor and thought that Lloris got a touch on the ball, which he didn't.
Yeah.
So it was no penalty against Spurs. He's just, and it's been proven that he used to play for Man City youths, and his family members were like season ticket holders and all this stuff like that. All this stuff came out after, and like, why is this guy even allowed to be in the VR room? And look, I'm not saying that he's a cheat, but the fact that he tried to claim that it wasn't below the shirt line is diabolical. Like, it really is incredibly poor refereeing.
I like how you said, I'm not saying he's a cheat, but he's not honest. He's not calling a fair game. And I think that he's a cheat. I mean, damn. It's I mean, it was just the thing is, here's the shitty thing that I don't like. The feeling, because it was a familiar feeling. of feeling like, here we go again. You know what I mean? That is a feeling. I think one of the times that sticks out the most in my mind is, do you remember United Everton game? Martial flops in the box in the same season that Omar got retroactively banned for flopping, deceiving an official. Martial flops, gets them a penalty, right? We lose on this penalty, and nothing. It's very clear. It's very clear. And I remember that was one of the times that just sticks in. I cannot get it out of my mind. Just this, but what do you do with it? What do you do with this shitty feeling?
Yep.
It seems like you just eat it.
And we have ate it, and it wasn't just that. I think that there's bubbling over from Everton side of things. Was
this season,
the week?
My gosh.
Yeah, this season has been terrible. Their standard of refereeing has been absolutely atrocious, right? And VAR isn't doing itself any favors to justify it being a useful tool now for refereeing standards. But the week before, in the Southampton game, in the first 10 minutes, when Romeo handballed it in the box on the cross, and it wasn't given.
Yes, yeah, that's one of the ones I think about this year.
2 weeks,
yeah.
2 weeks in a row. That's 2 weeks in a row now. We've not had a handball decision for us in the box.
Yeah.
And then I think it was a Brentford player wrestling Salomon Rondon to the ground.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
And I believe that was the 3 that they complained to Mike Rayleigh about.
Those are the ones. Yeah. Those are the ones that I was told as well. I mean, we just had a lot of that kind of stuff happening. Again, with Spurs coming up, I immediately think of the Dele Alli handball. You remember that? What?
Oh my Lord.
What? So yeah, I don't know. I just feel like as Everton supporters, every single one of us can rattle off a laundry list of just stupid. And it makes me curious how many other teams have the same list, and how many other supporters of other clubs have the same list. I'd be curious, because I don't know. I have never just sat there and said, "Do you guys get crapped on like we do?" Because we're just like a toilet.
Yeah, and like we're like, I just want to, because it looks like we're just being bitter blues because we're losing, but no, it's like genuine mistakes are costing us games, they're costing us points. We're fighting for our lives at the bottom of the table. So every point counts now. You know what I mean? To here on out. So yeah, and I'm sure we'll touch on it later with Yoshi's question on it, just about the standard, because I have some ideas myself. But yeah, it was incredible. Like it's a good reason why sometimes my wife goes away to her friends when the Everton game is on, because I was going ballistic at the TV, like just could not understand it.
Are you okay now?
Yes, kind
okay,
of.
Good.
No. Yeah, I'm okay.
I feel like you have a gigantic teddy bear in the corner of your room where you watch games, so that just after games you just fall into the teddy bear's arms, weeping and just hugging it around the waist, going.
Usually I'm like sat on the sofa and the dogs come either side and like just rest their little noses on my lap, and I'm like, oh. Okay.
Like, yes, this is making me feel better. See, for me, I'd be like, I don't want to feel better. I want to feel pain. I want to feel frustration. This sucks. Just, you're nice. You're sweet. You're just like, oh, okay, guys, let's go for a run outside on the lake.
Well, I mean, I feel bad because you have to leave the door open because we don't have a doggy door, right? But we have to leave the door open. It's freezing, right? So it's like absolutely freezing, but I can't have the dogs in the house while I'm going absolutely mental at the TV screen, because I feel bad for them.
Yeah,
but
I get it. Yeah, no, I remember when I first started watching Everton and getting into, I had a little Jack Russell Terrier that was like my best buddy, and oh my gosh, I start yelling, she just starts, like just sitting there doing it with me at the same time. She would celebrate goals with me. She would get angry when I'm yelling. Oh
Wow.
man, she's barking at the TV. It was great. I had like a
Brilliant.
companion in misery at that point.
Brilliant.
Now I have children for that. Where I'm like, I'm brainwashing you and I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
So you mentioned getting to questions. We should get to questions and then we'll do a Spurs preview because we've got some
Okay,
healthy
sure.
questions. We probably should answer the questions with a bit of quickness, just because
Okay.
there are a decent amount of them.
Mhm.
Um, First, we're going to start with your family. So Aaron decided to open up. I'm going to do that with my fam next time. That's a great idea. So Aaron's gotten questions, one from his mom and one from his glorious wife. The mom question, I think, is very topical to like today because we're recording this Wednesday evening, by the way, for everybody else who's
Yeah.
out there.
Mhm.
So Aaron's mom asks, so what is the financial impact of severing ties with Alisher Usmanov? Okay, because that news just came through. All
Mhm.
right,
Um,
you want to go through that?
yeah, I'll start. So, hi, Mum. Love you. So yeah, I mean, it's a tricky one. It's the right thing to do, but I just want to start off by saying it's a bit hollow still at the minute because unfortunately our owner, Farhad Mashiri, is still a board member of USM, which is Usmanov's, conglomerate type thing. And I feel like Farhad needs to step down from that and completely remove himself of all of Alisher Usmanov's kind of relations. Uh, I think that's the best course of action to take. As for the sponsorships and whatnot, Megaphone, which is also Usmanov's, it's going to be a hit. Obviously, like can't. It's going to take 500 grand just to remove basically all of the Megaphone and USM advertising and Yota as well, from the stadium, from the training ground, from our shirts, unfortunately, on your sleeve right now.
I'm trying to take care of it.
Sorry.
Hold
So
on.
yeah, and also
I
Usmanov's
just
provided.
remembered it was on here.
Sorry.
I was literally, you saw me reaching for the tape. That's what I was doing and then as I get it and I'm about to fix it, you
Oh no.
mention it. And I'm like, no, now it looks like I'm totally not self-aware. Oh,
I tell you what. Do you know what I was doing? I was looking at because obviously I'm assuming that we're going to have a big massive Toffee fest again in the summer, and this is going to be a sea of Toffees wearing their this shirt. I was looking at videos of how to take the stickers off a football shirt, like on YouTube. Anyway, sorry. Right, so I'm
hey,
waffling.
that's a
But yeah.
thing. That's a thing. Okay, I'm with you. Wow.
So Usmanov gave us 30 million for the stadium also. Um, so to say that it wouldn't be a financial hit would be obviously wrong because we will take some hit in sponsorships and whatnot. But I think there's been some lazy journalism in the past few days with regards to like revenue we'd actually lose, which is just obscene. Trying to claim we'd be seriously in debt and whatnot. It's just not true. So yeah, I think that more needs to be done from Farhad with his own role, but the right action's definitely been taken by the club, by a lot of clubs, by a lot of institutions, the EU, US, UK, sanctions and whatnot. So yeah, obviously there will be impacts, but I don't think it will be as bad as some journalists are saying.
That's what I think the gist of the question seems to lie is I think there's a lot of supporters out there who are kind of like, okay, that seemed the right thing to do. How screwed are we? That
Mm,
seems like the real, gut thing there. And,
mhm.
I'm hearing you. I got nothing to disagree with there. I feel like you said that way better than I ever could. So I think
Uh,
there's wisdom.
And a lot of fans worry is the stadium. Obviously, will it be complete?
Yes.
People need to forget that actually it's the majority of the funding is a 10-year loan, not from Usmanov, from the banks. So,
Mm.
and partly Mashiri as well, and then partly the government. So the stadium's fine. The stadium will be fine.
Mm. All right. Next question. I may be able to field this one. Aaron's glorious wife asks, very eloquently, I might add, why are Everton so bad?
I love you.
I'll be brief.
Go.
Don't have to be, but I will be. In a nutshell, there is not one unified vision or voice leading the club. It's as though it's a mutant monster with three heads, sets of, in each it has its own sets of arms, yet it only has two legs. And the legs have no idea which head to listen to or which direction to go in. Hence, you have like a totally non-functioning mutant monster. Okay. I think about, do you remember the Holy Grail with the three-headed knight?
Yeah.
Okay. It couldn't decide where to go or what to do. And what did it do? It stayed still, and Sir Robin ran away. Bravely ran away. All right. So yeah, that's what Everton are right now,
Hmm.
is this beast with many heads, totally stagnated, and it needs to somehow find some form of central brain so it has a plan.
Hmm.
That's the first step. All right. So
Good answer.
I
Good answer.
I spent,
Um,
yes, this is straight up Family Feud.
um, I can't disagree with that. I think mine was more blunt. It was basically, to answer plain and simply, gross mismanagement from the owner since he has taken over.
Yeah.
Um, and God love my wife, she has to put up with
Yeah.
my mood swings, especially when we are so terribly shit.
I'll be honest, I
So
refuse to believe you are anything but pleasant and charming 24 hours a day.
I am, apart from the 90 minutes of when Everton play a week. But no. So
You're
thank you
like,
for putting up with that,
there are
Chelsea.
times where I sometimes don't say please and thank you. You know? There are some times when I do say please, but I don't smile pleasantly. So
There's sometimes where I don't eat my green peas.
yes,
But yes,
you're like, nah, just kidding. I eat all
yeah, I do.
I would never be that off the handle and refuse to eat my vegetables. Never go that far. That's just horrible.
I know,
Uh,
it's disgusting.
so, so are we good with that one?
Yeah, I
Uh,
think so. Yeah, yeah,
okay. There was one more before we get to Toffees and Chains that I need to mention.
okay.
This is from a friend of mine who is a manager. He is the manager, the head coach for the NC Fusion team that we're doing the
Oh,
documentary on. Okay.
mm,
Um, this is not a nice question he's asked because he's a red.
oh no.
It's a bad year for me to be
Next.
interacting with him all the time and asking him questions about documentary and all that. And he's asking
Mm,
me for updates. And so he saw me post about questions, and his was Jezza, because that's what they call me.
mhm.
Question for you: are you excited to report on Everton when they play away Blackpool away next season? And I told him that his words hurt, and I
I mean,
meditated.
there's a strong chance. There's a strong chance we'll be playing Blackpool away in the FA Cup because we're staying up. That's how I'm going to answer that. Sorry, Jezza.
Say, yeah, I didn't know. Yeah, the whole team calls me Jezza, by the way. Still trying to. I'm like, wait, I'm cool enough to have like a cool like British nickname. What the hell's going on? I'm a total dork. Like Gerry fits me to a T, so it's I can't have cool nicknames. But no, I had no answer for that because I to be honest with you, I don't think we're going down. I don't. I like what Frank Lampard's doing. I don't. But I'm not one of those. And by the way, if you're one of these Everton fans who thinks there's no chance of us going down, no disrespect to you here. You've probably been an Everton supporter longer than I have. I don't like to sit there and tell people how to be a fan. But for me personally, I think is always a possibility. There's always a possibility of going down. Bad things happen. Bad runs happen. Misfortune happens. So I don't think it's going to, but I can't sit there and tell Chris and be like, no, you're wrong, without having him just shake his head and laugh. You know what I mean? So for me, it's best just to not answer. Just to be like, Chris, you with the stick and the knife in everywhere and every time I turn, that's hurtful. I want to be like, look, I'm editing this thing. I'm the director. My editor listens to me. I can make you seem just crazy. I would never. But still.
I vote yes to making them seem crazy, but I hear what you're saying. The precarious position we found ourselves in, we've every chance of being relegated unless we get results and other results go away, like last night's against Burnley for Leicester. I don't think I've ever celebrated a Leicester goal in my life until last night, and that's just sick. It's sickening. It really is.
Are you okay?
That's the position we're in. I'm fine. I'm okay.
I don't know. I feel like you're protesting. I'm fine, Gerry.
Jezza. Sorry. You should have told me that. You should have told me.
Moving on. Toffee's in chains asks. I'm glad. Okay, this is related to the statement that Everton put in about the decision to suspend the relationship with USM. Toffee's in Chains asks, but do you think the statement should have went further in condemning the person who's responsible for this suffering by naming names? The actual statement, I pulled it up. Everyone at Everton remains shocked and saddened by the appalling events unfolding in Ukraine. This tragic situation must end as soon as possible, and any further loss of life must be avoided. The players, coaching staff, and everyone working at Everton is providing full support to our player, Vitaly Mikolenko, and his family, and will continue to do so. The club can confirm that it has suspended with immediate effect all commercial sponsorship arrangements with the Russian companies USM, Megaphone, and Yota. So, no names were mentioned. What do you think about naming names?
Like I said, I think so far it's hollow from the club, from Mashiri in particular, not to throw Usmanov under the bus with his close relations to Putin, a tyrant like Putin. Our club should never have an association with that at all. And to Toffee's and Shane's point, yes, I do believe they should have went further to say Usmanov. And it's not Russia's war, it's Putin's war. People need to remember this as well, too. So yes, I agree. There probably should have been responsibility put on those two names in particular. I still think Mashiri should leave USM board stat also. So yeah, good question.
Yeah, it is. Going back, I'm going to save a little bit of the Yoshi questions for just a moment. Also, we've got a question apiece from the brothers McAllister coming up. Those are to Toffee Blues gentlemen who hopefully I will be seeing in England when I go visit. But Toffee Blues John, who puts all this whole shebang together. Okay, he's the head honcho with Toffee Blues. He's kind of a big deal. Once he finds out I said that, he's gonna be like, "Why, Gerry? Why?" He's just. At what point did you decide you couldn't back Benitez anymore, or did you? At what point do you think he had run his course at Everton? Okay, what was the exact moment? Then and try not to say.
What's the day that he was appointed? Oh, I wasn't going to say that. I think we obviously had a decent start under him, and I started to warm to it a bit more. But I feel like the turning point was probably mid-November to end November. I think we went 6 games on the spin without a win. More should have been done there. The injuries again. Look, I'm not defending them, but we had a lot of really bad injuries during that period too, to key players. But I would say probably the game before the Chelsea game where we got the point, thanks to Gerry Branthwaite, and that should have. I think it was Norwich. We should have. I think. Oh, was it Norwich or Brentford? I can't remember. But it was a game we played one of the lower teams and they beat us, and I thought he can't go on, and somehow he miraculously stayed on after tearing the club from the inside out. He fell out with Dina, which was a turning point of our whole season. He sacked the medical team. So yeah, the mood around the whole place just was awful, and he never once took responsibility in his post-match press conferences for losses. And I was just, I mean, if that's not enough to anger you with his arrogance, then yeah, he's trying to warm to the Everton fans. He's doing nothing of the sorts, and it was yeah, it was bad. It was and we have to elephant in the room. He should never have been appointed in the first place. Mashiri should have read the room big time.
Yeah.
And now we're paying for it, unfortunately. Or we've paid the price for it. So
yeah, one of those moments where I really, really wanted our director of football to be able to direct football.
Yep.
That'd have been cool if this, that guy that we brought on for a reason actually was allowed to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that right there. Glorious Wife, just saying. Exhibit A right there. There you go, Glorious Wife. All right, so yeah. The time that I remember really just, I'm usually a pretty patient guy. I'll be honest. I'm a pretty patient guy. I'm not big at thinking, get rid of somebody, because I constantly am thinking, okay, is it possible? Is it possible? Is it possible to turn around? It's possible to turn around. I didn't want the hire in the first place, though. I was super negative. I tried to be open-minded, and but I feel like, to me, the point of absolutely no return was right before he got fired was Norwich, because the whole time I was thinking, do you turn around? Do you turn around? But before that, you reminded me, when you push Luca Dean out of the team, why? I do not get that. And then you try to make sure he gets painted in a way that looks like he's straight up down tools and everything. I don't like that. I don't buy that. Luca Dean has established a pattern with us. Okay, we kind of get an idea of who he is from when he's been here, and the idea of all of a sudden just changing personality, I don't think so. I don't think so. So
And I think it was all born out of frustration. And I honestly kudos to him for standing up and saying, "You've taken me off corners, you've taken me off free kicks, you're telling me not to run up the wing anymore." And people need to remember, there was all this chat about, oh, he's done nothing in 18 months, blah blah blah.
Of
Like
course.
he was still our top assister
Yep.
and top like key passer, and like I just it baffles me. Yeah, that was a dark time.
That's
Been a
probably
pretty
the
dark.
angriest that I was, though, was the Luka Dean thing.
Yeah.
More,
Yeah.
more than some of the losses. I guess it was. I don't know. That one really got me.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
I'm with you on
tough
that.
to take.
Toffee Blues John also asks, and this is a nice little departure from Everton for a second. Hey, enjoy the break. Favorite Marvel movie?
Favorite Marvel movie? Oof, yeah, that's tough. That is tough. I think I'm gonna go the first. No, I'm gonna go Infinity War
Infinity War?
because I came out of that at the end when when they all got snapped and
Mhm.
they all started turning to dust. And I went on the opening night, so the whole crowd is going crazy when like T'Challa's like disappearing and yeah, all these other like main characters are all like being snapped, and like people were like people were sitting on the sidewalk just going, "Oh my god!" Like just going absolutely crazy about it. And I like that. I love that it was kind of no holds barred, and they didn't. It was unforgiving, and it was a great way to end a movie. But I think it was the most thing. I thought Black Panther was absolutely incredible too. Um, and a shame what's happened to Chadwick Boseman, R.I.P.
Yep.
Hard to replace, but I would say probably Infinity War for me. What about yourself?
Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, I mean that's probably my second favorite, purely because it was absolutely hilarious,
It's
and I can't
so
wait to see what
damn
they're doing
funny.
next. Oh, so good,
My
so
God.
good.
And the fact that you can bring in, I just, you don't hear, I feel like I haven't had a lot of Led Zeppelin experience in movies and it actually being cool moments.
Yeah.
And yes, this worked.
Mm-hmm.
Hilarious. It's just so funny.
Aye.
But it's just a cool movie. It's just a cool
Mm-hmm.
movie. Just think about how they could have
Yep.
screwed that up. They could have screwed that movie up so bad. And it's
Well,
way better than I expected. I had no idea.
Taika Waititi is a genius, like, and I'm
Love
like
him.
really excited that they brought him back on for the next one. I think him and he unearthed a different side of Chris Hemsworth's Thor, which is hilarious side,
Mm-hmm.
that you got to see in Infinity War and you got to see in Endgame. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm excited for that next one. Yeah, so yeah, I would say number 2 would be Ragnarok for sure.
Yeah. And I think my number 2 is Black Panther
Yeah, it was
for
awesome.
very obvious reasons. Really
Yeah,
good.
it
Very,
was
very,
incredible.
very, very solid film. Just watched Shang-Chi with my boys this past weekend. It's pretty good too.
I liked it a lot. I mean,
Yeah, it's pretty
I
good.
mean, it was kind of out of worldly, but I mean, they're kind of getting that way. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was excellent. It was really good.
There's a moment, I don't want to spoil this, it's not a spoiler. For a little while in the movie, for the people who don't know the story, the movie's been out for how long? Uh, but you know, Sean is like kind of nerdy and geeky and parks cars, and everybody who knows him doesn't know a whole. They feel like they know him, and then he gets totally just ambushed on a one of those extension buses in San
Mm-hmm.
Francisco, and Aquafina plays his friend, and then
Yeah.
he gets totally ambushed on that bus, and she has no idea that he can fight, and then he kind of sees her get threatened, and he all of a sudden he can fight, and it's such a good fight scene, and me and both my
It's
kids,
brilliant.
both my boys are just sitting there going like this goofy little laugh, like this is so cool. It's
And
ridiculous.
and I think what made that better is obviously there'd been a bit of a hiatus with the Marvel movies too due to
Yeah.
COVID and whatnot, and there was a delay in the release of that film. So it was you're kind of that whole action scene on that bus is incredible, and you're
So
just like,
good.
oh, this is what I've missed. Oh, like just like you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it was sweet. It was very cool. So yeah, I like that one a lot as well. Anyway, John, I feel like you could I feel like me and Aaron could pretty much do a whole show on just Marvel movies.
probably.
So anyway, let's move on. We have the Brothers McAllister questions. Let's start with Paul. DCL, should we look to sell in the summer and reinvest, or is he too crucial to any possible future success? And just want to say, hi, Paul. Hope you're well, buddy. Been too long since we've done a show together, but I only am allowed to talk to Americans now, or people who live in America. Apparently that's a thing. John put the kibosh, said only talked, yeah. So I miss you, right? So anyway, what do you think, DCL?
I think it would be a mistake. I know he's had a real rough time of it this season with injuries. I do think he's our best striker. It would be hard to replace him. But if you're talking 55, 60 million, that's the kind of sustainability model for a team of our pedigree. We're not Champions League chasers at the minute. We're not like top two, right? So it's if you want a sustainability model, if someone offers that amount of money, you can't knock it back really. And if now that we've got a director of football who I really don't know much about, and I'm sure we'll touch on that later, like that's the type of money that could be invested in good young players with talent that in a few years' time we can sell on again for higher prices and get that like sustainable kind of club model. I don't. So personally, I would hate to see him go. I think he's our best striker. Rishi loves playing up there, but I think I prefer Rishi coming in off the wings still. So
Me too.
It's a bit of a on the fence one. I think it's all dependent on the fee. If the fee's high enough, you can't knock it back. But if it's like say 30, 40 mil, I would say let's keep him for another season at least. Hopefully get him back into the plane on the plane to Qatar for England, and put him on that stage. Sorry.
There's also the possibility that his head gets turned by another club.
True.
That is a thing that could happen. I mean, I agree with you. I think he's a massive player in our system. I love him. I don't want him to go. I don't want to sell him. I think he's absolutely. It's hard for me to see a replacement being able to produce what he could produce when he's healthy, and how to run a games. Having said that, how's our financial situation going to look? We don't fully know, right? I mean, we just lost a good chunk of sponsorship dollars, right? So is it a thing where we're going to need to balance books? Is it a thing where his value is it a sell high thing? I admire those clubs that can sell their players that are ready to move on, make a big profit, replace them because they've invested wisely. And that's the problem. We have been scorched when we have not invested wisely. Okay? Just scorched. And every single one of us is just like, oh my God, there's no way we can sell because we're not going to invest wisely, right? Because no one thinks we're going to.
Yep, agreed. Yep.
So I want us to be like a Dortmund, but I don't. Are we going? I mean, they sit there and they just churn out, and they could sit there and they buy the person's replacement before the actual person who's leaving is even left, and then they just phase them out, and all of a sudden, that player that they can sell now hasn't been playing very much this season, the second half of the season, because they've been phased out because they were smart. They had some foresight. But I'm just some dude. I don't know. Next question, Terry. Terry is Paul's brother. He also shows up on a ton of Toffee Blues videos. Terry's an awesome fella. I'm sure both Terry and Paul would have loved to have gotten in our Marvel conversation a minute ago. Terry, miss you too, buddy. Also another badass, big fan. Just love these guys. Those guys are those brothers McAllister that are awesome. So his question is, even though it never actually happens, what do you think will be Lampard's preferred 11 when everyone is fit? And who misses out? Begovic? No, sorry.
I genuinely think that's the only position in our team right now that is a guarantee. That I genuinely think that that's the only one that's nailed on. So yeah, Jordan Pickford definitely number one. I have to go with Seamus.
I agree.
And then, as much as Mina has got glass ankles, he's in my opinion our best defender. And then I'm going to throw in Godfrey, who again has been unfortunate with injury.
We totally agree so far, by the way.
Holgate has looked decent the past couple of games.
He has.
He might be another that does a Phoenix from the Ashes type thing, but he's had to because we have nobody else, right? Left back, I'm going to go with Miko. I'm going to go a natural left back, Mikolenko.
This is the only place you and I disagree.
Okay.
Because for some reason, I feel like he prefers Jonjo Kinney right now. I think I have not seen enough of Mikolenko to know that Lampard totally trusts him yet.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's my only reasoning. I think I agree. Natural left back I would prefer to have. And I feel like once I see a little more Mikolenko, I probably will say yes to that. But I want to see more of him.
I think like we touched on earlier, he's got some really good coaches with him at the left back position. And I think the fact that he's a Ukrainian international too, and has been for a year and a half, 2 years, starting left back, it's no coincidence. He was tracked by a previous director of football. I think he's definitely solid. Does he have that ability of bombing it up and down the wing like Digne has? And does he have the end product? I think that's still to be polished off. But I still think he's a natural left back. He needs to be given time. And right now he's angry, and that is probably the best time to be playing him is to basically just use that anger on the pitch and kind of take his mind off what's going on. But yeah, so that would be the defense.
Yeah. So all right. So that's 5. All right. And we only disagree on 1. So yeah.
Okay.
And I think I totally get exactly why you say that, by the way. I don't think you're dead wrong, by the way. I just want to say that.
Yeah.
So next.
And I don't think you're dead wrong about Kenny. He has put in some great performances and seems to have got his head straight. But anyway, next we'll go Allen for sure. But this is key and pivotal that it has to be a 3-man midfield. Right? He is in because of that. And it will be Donny and Dr. Dre. I'm persevering. Then it will be Gordon. Yep. And then Gray. And then I'm going to blow your mind. And then I'm going to go Rishi just now on this season's form up front. Not DCL.
You have blown my mind. I don't even know what to do with that. So, but I think we're pretty close here. Here. My decision, I didn't even think, I thought Richarlison and DCL were just immediate. They go in, right? And my decision was more between Gray and Gordon.
Yep.
That was more mine. And I was like, whoa, this is awesome. We got 2 players who can start. We got 2 starters there. Which is the way actual real teams are supposed to function, by the way. You're supposed to have multiple players that can start,
Yeah.
So yeah. And I went with Gray instead of Gordon, but it's not like Gordon hasn't earned it. Gordon has earned it, frankly.
Yep.
And for me, that was interchangeable, Gray or Gordon. but because I had to make a decision and not be wishy-washy, I did say Gray. But big believer in Gordon. Just, those
Yep.
players that miss out, I think Dele Alli needs more time.
Yep, we need to find that position for him.
Mhm.
If Frank Lampard is able to find that 2016-17, early 18 form of him,
Mhm.
he's going to be the best number 10 since probably James that we could have. The problem is we're not playing with a kind of out and out number 10. You probably need some sort of free role in a front three, or in placement of, say, a Donny. I don't think he could displace Dr. Dre, persevering, and but he needs time. I think he needs
Yes,
time.
I think he does. I think we just need to be patient. I think if he's just getting some minutes every game, let's just see how he grows in that way. Um, also missing out, you got Keane and Holgate. Those are two players who've been playing a lot who miss out. Iwobinho, Patterson, who seems like he needs more time because it seems like he's not going to start tomorrow. Hold on. You may be watching this on Thursday or Friday. So I'm saying tomorrow he may not start against Boreham Wood.
Mm-hmm.
May not start against Boreham. I believe he's not going to, is what Frank has said. So I think Mikolenko is starting on the left. And I think you might even see Kenny starting on the right.
Potential there. Yep, I could see that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I don't. He left it ambiguous. I thought he left it ambiguous to me about Patterson. But I think it would be, to me, that's the perfect game for him.
It would be, right?
Aye, it would be. And he looked decent for the under 23s, like very decent a couple of games. So I've watched him, obviously being Scottish, playing for Scotland. He looks the real deal. And ask any of my Rangers fans, mates, and they're the only reason why he wasn't getting a game is because their right back is like top scorer in the league for like 2-3 seasons running. A right back is top scorer. So anyway, but yeah, sorry. Yep, give him time. I think he'll come through.
Yeah, I was curious about that. But the word is that he's probably not going to be starting tomorrow, which it feels like it's the right time, but
I think so.
So anyway, that's Terry's questions answered. Let's talk. I don't even know where that went. Shit. So let's talk Reddit questions from Yoshi. He's asking about the USM, Everton distancing from USM as well. And I want to give respect to Yoshi here. It says, while first and foremost football comes last if lives are at risk, how do you think this will affect Everton's financial fair play situation? Stadium should not be adversely affected, but do you think it will impair their summer transfer budget? Yes, there will be a handful of players on expensive wages off the bill, but will the budget be diminished as a result? What do you think, man?
And thank you, Yoshi, for your incredible questions as always.
Yeah, there's
Really
like
in-depth.
3 more for everybody out there.
Yeah.
Yoshi's bringing more than this.
I think, I alluded to it earlier, it would be wrong to assume that there wasn't going to be financial implications with the loss of the sponsorships. Having said that, we've been told that last summer's activity or transfer activity or lack of transfer activity was to help us out the mire of financial fair play. The January transfers, obviously, we had a few. We had this incredible deal in Delhi. I still can't get my head around it. But with Mikolenko and Patterson, both of those deals were offset by selling one player, and that was Ndina, which is a shame because we loved them. And as Yoshi said, we've got many off the books this summer, many from the Walsh days that needed to. He who shall not be named, Cenk, a few others as well that are on huge wages that will obviously have give us some leeway in the market for sure. We now have a director of football that I'm hoping can build us a sustainable model of recruitment. So long answer sideways. I don't think it would affect us as much as some people are leading us to believe this summer in particular, but I could be wrong. Sorry.
Yeah. I am just going to say I agree because I'm currently looking at these other Yoshi questions. I'm going to skip ahead to number 3. Pre-match conference from Lampard suggests that Patterson isn't going to get a chance against Boreham. Actually, he says Borewood. Why do you think he hasn't gotten a chance yet? Borewood are several leagues below Everton, and Coleman could do with a rest. Patterson should be good enough to have a run out unless he's injured or ill. It's not showing much faith. Do you think there are any other Everton youngsters that Lampard will play? And by the way, so for those of you, if you watched this after the Boreham game, if this comes out on, let's say, Friday, which is very possible, then yeah, you probably already know who has played in that game. I think you could see Dobbin playing, right?
Yeah, I could see him playing for sure. I do just want to say, like I touched on earlier, he left it ambiguous, but I think, as you're right, he might play Kenny at right back and Miko Lenko, who is definitely starting, as he's also said, is definitely starting. But I wouldn't write Patterson not starting off just yet until the actual game. I do think he'll get some minutes regardless. I think if it's Kenny, he'll come on in the second half for Kenny if we're, say, winning 1 or 2-0. No disrespect to Boreham. They could be beating us 3-0 at this point by the time this recording comes out. But I think Dobbin will get a chance. I think Onyanga is possible.
That was the other one I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. But again, I do want us to rest some players. But like, can we afford it? Do we have the players? We don't really have a full strength like under 23 as well. I mean, so I don't know. I think Jared Branthwaite will probably start at centre back too.
I agree. I'm with you. With you on all that. Okay, I have to go through this one. This one's long, but it's really good. I mean, you alluded to it earlier. What is the point of getting an apology from a ref post-match if there are no repercussions? Okay, I'm just going to say yes to that. That's not, I mean, there's no point. There's no point. It's like, sorry, we screwed up. I mean, when you go to a restaurant and they screw up your meal, they give, a lot of times they say, we'll comp this, or we'll give you a nice little, gift card so you can come back and have a free meal. You're on us, right? So they get you back, right?
Sure.
This is something that can't be taken back, right? It can't unless they give us points. So yeah, like making a bad foul, swearing at a ref, players would be yellow carded or sent off for a game. If refs continue to be so protected and entrusted by their inner circle, how can we not absolve them from potentially being biased? There should be an independent body which makes them provide reasoning and give fans greater transparency over what conversations are being had during VAR review process, like in other sports. What are your thoughts on having a panel observing VAR of several individuals deciding on whether the incident was a foul, rather than currently having one individual make a premeditated decision for the on-field ref? Would we be averse from showing large posters and banners at matches calling out poor decisions that refs have made to raise more awareness about the need to improve ref decision makings? If all teams ended up doing the same through a snowball effect, it would be made a bigger deal in the media and hopefully put more pressure to change the way the current VAR decisions are being made. That is one idea that comes to mind, but you may have better alternatives. So Yoshi is not happy, and none of us are happy. I'm with you, Yoshi. I've been angry about this kind of thing for a while. I feel like as an Everton supporter, you've just been burned so many times. What, I mean, how do you make it up to teams when you're screwing them over? Because what's the deal? There's a certain amount of human error, right? But
Isn't right? Yeah.
Right, but there's got to be a line. There has to be a line. You know, I don't know. I feel like the referees are protected from criticism big time.
Too much. So, especially the past couple of seasons, the standards of our refereeing has been absolutely abysmal, and we're meant to be the biggest and best league in the world, definitely the richest. If we were the richest, why aren't we? Why isn't the Premier League pumping that money into like professional referees training? Like, just it's kind of diabolical, really, that we're so far behind other countries in terms of refereeing standards.
I find it interesting that they have that. You remember when Omar Nias, deceived a match official that was deemed deceiving a match official and got retroactively banned. They had a little panel about that, right?
Yep.
And I feel like that's the kind of thing here that Yoshi is mentioning. There needs to be a panel to review this kind of stuff and actually start taking action.
Yep. And I think there should be, instead of swapping the referees, who's in the VAR room, who's out in the pitch, blah blah blah, I think having a dedicated VAR team unit that, yes, there's obviously going to be games on at the same time, but having their own 2 or 3 people in the same room watching the one game. I mean, so it might cost a bit of money for the Premier League to do, but the Premier League can afford it. So I think it has to be independent. The referees are the referees on the pitch. If they can't see it in their own eye, then they need the eyes of the VAR panel to make that decision for them, without cheating. But sorry, but I came up with this crazy thing. I don't know who I was discussing this with on Twitter, but I like referees. The importance of a referee. Sometimes they can be more important at deciding a game than the actual players themselves. Why not pay for these referees to go through seriously intense training, pay them the wages of a Premier League player, and any mistake they make, like a Premier League player would, they get docked their wages, they miss games, they get suspensions. You know what I mean? Just like a whole similar system to the yellow red card system, the fining system. I think that would surely, the impetus would be then for the ref to say, oh well, I need to make sure I'm more focused and make the right calls. But having said that, it was obviously the people in the VAR room that made the wrong call because our refs couldn't see it. So, but it's just something I thought of that maybe that's something they should look into is treating them like a player.
I like that.
Because,
and that panel thing is sort of similar to what Yoshi's talking about. Having a panel to kind of, if you're trying to deem whether or not players are being sort of unethical, or if you're reviewing their potential mistakes mid-game, why are you not doing the same thing with officials?
Exactly.
That's got to happen. It's got to happen. And something else, I'm just going to say this because I feel like it needs to be said. Referees look stupid. Look at their uniforms. No one. Why have they been given the dumbest things to wear? They look like idiots every single game. You cannot sit there and point to a referee and you say, look at that sharp-dressed fella. No one ever says it. They feel like dorks. They get a chip on their shoulder, and then they're like, you know what? I'm getting all
Yeah.
you back. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I think we gotta. I agree. Treat them like players. Deck them out. Make them look better. Stop making them look so stupid. Okay, I'm telling
Mhm.
you, it'll help their self-esteem. Maybe they won't feel like, now it's my time to get Carlo Ancelotti back. Red card.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying, like right now, I feel like it's there's a big problems under the neath the everything, you know?
Yep.
And no one has mentioned this. So
Mhm.
yes, I'm pushing hard for the change of referee uniforms. Also, in all seriousness, yes, they do look stupid. In all seriousness, we need to actually have that conversation where you actually hear the ref mic'd up and you hear what they're
Absolutely.
saying, like they do in Australia.
Yep.
How how are the Australians nailing this?
Mm-hmm.
They're nailing it.
Yeah, because by that point you will understand exactly why they're making the decision they've made, and this is the incredible thing. We have this amazing technology now called VAR, and we're not utilizing it to its highest form, where it's absolutely abysmal that no one really knows why that penalty was not given. People are hearing that it's possibly because Rishi was offside. The people are saying it's because the third phase of being an offside, and you're just like, what? Why don't
Yeah.
we know this?
Yeah.
What, like, who's like, what was the final decision and why? And that's what the most frustrating thing is.
There should be some form of explanation. There should be answers, you know?
Yep.
And so yeah, I've said it from the beginning. I don't think we scrap VAR. VAR is not the problem. It's the implementation and the people using it.
Mhm.
The
Yep.
system is
Exactly.
stupid. It's a dumb
Mhm.
system. It's got to be revamped. How is it being done so much better in other leagues? And I
Mhm.
feel like it's because they're trying. In the beginning, I thought it was like they were going, yeah, we'll bring in VAR and we'll do it stupidly and make you demand that we take it away again. And that's
Mhm.
the way it came across, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Agreed. Like your armpit being offside and stuff. Remember that when they first had it in the season? I know it was ridiculous.
Armpit
But I mean,
handballs.
they implemented that handball rule, right? That in the box, it's an immediate penalty, and in 2 weeks in a row, we didn't get either of them. And the second week, it was a stonewaller. Uh, It's just aye,
Yeah.
it's bad.
Anyway,
Incompetence, as Fanny Lamp said. So
yeah, or worse.
aye, aye.
Last question from Yoshi, and actually the last question before we do our Spurs preview. How about the new director of football? What do you know about him? Uh, what do you know about him that you could share with us that pleases you about his recruiting policies? Is he going to be another bronze? Pay me the money and I'll follow your lead, Mushiri. Or is he going to take a more distinct, independent approach?
Hmm. Oh, you want me to start? I'm just gonna be like, I don't know much about him, like,
Yeah,
at all. I do think there was some false narratives of his time at Wolves. Obviously, Wolves recruitment has been pretty good at
but
times, but people need to be very aware. The likes of Jota, the likes of Neves, Moutinho, they were all George Mendes's the super agent, who
yeah,
has
I
an
know.
affiliation with Wolves. They
Yeah,
were all his players, so he can't be credited to bringing those players when actually, I mean, yes, he brought Adama Traore, but then Adama Traore, although he's looked like the best winger in the world at Barca recently, he was just another, like, he just bombs up the wing and had no
yeah,
end product for Wolves, right? Um, but I don't know. I think the strategic review that went underway has been key, and I think no matter what, we needed a director of football. Winding up Ryan Williams,
that's right.
I had him on, like, on my hook, like, just fishing, saying that we didn't need a, like, replying to his messages that we didn't need a director of football, and he just blew up, and I felt really guilty, and I was like, oh, but when am I going to tell him that I was joking? But like, anyway, it was funny. Anyway, I love your podcast too, guys. But anyway, so yeah, but so we
Ryan's a
needed
pretty darn knowledgeable guy. Like,
He's great.
so
He's,
if you don't follow Ryan Williams from American Toffee Podcast, you should. Yeah, he's a good guy. He's super smart. He does a ton of research, and he's very thoughtful when he replies on Twitter. And so when someone gives a statement like what Aaron's saying he put out there, I can absolutely see him saying, "Wait, here's a laundry list for you." You know what I mean? So yes.
I was going, oh, the models, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It hasn't worked for years. And just totally winding him up. It was brilliant. And like, I've just got a sixth sense of humor. I was just laying on the sofa, just laughing. Like, it just so stupid. So just trolling him. But
I
so
saw you
apologies.
doing that. I saw it. And I remember thinking, that doesn't seem like Aaron. That doesn't sound like him. Like, I feel like he doesn't, that's not his actual opinion. That's weird.
I got
That
a
makes so
message
much sense
from
now.
I got a text message from our favourite Cincinnati Toffee, Jake Holton.
Yeah.
Is it, are you being for real that Everton don't need a director of football? And I was like, nah, I'm just totally winding Brian up. He was like, like, I thought so. I thought so.
That's so funny. Oh, that's awesome that Jake caught on to it too. That's great.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
Brilliant. That's hilarious.
But
to be honest with you though, like after doing a little bit of research, I feel like I still don't know this guy as a director of football. I feel like there's not a bunch of information about what he did at Wolves. I feel like there's not a bunch of information about what he did at New York Red Bulls. When I looked in like as many message like Twitter feeds as I could, with New York Red Bulls fans to see what they had to say. And some of them were like, no, he's gone. And then other people were like, he just got here. He didn't do anything. You know, I have no idea what to actually make of this hire. As far as Yoshi's question, do you think that it's going to take a more independent approach? Or do you think it's going to be what Moshiri says? What's your opinion on that, Aaron?
That's the key, right? That's pivotal. If Moshiri listens to this strategic review that he's set up, then he will realize that he has to take a bit of a backseat. And I don't want to say it like bluntly, but just be the money man, right? At the end of the day.
Yeah.
But it sounds like he's got someone else in his ear in Kia Jarabshin who should probably be not in his ear. So I'm hoping he builds a good rapport with Frank Lampard. And I hope he looks and fixes the mess at the back of the club with the medical department and whatnot, sports science. That fair enough. Yes, we've had a lot of injuries in the past years, but Benitez, he's just fire. It was like a firestorm of that backroom team, without any real replacements. So we need a lot of work to do in the background as well in terms of sports science and medical and whatnot. So hopefully he'll get us right on a decent track. And again, touching on that sustainable model of a football club of our level, being able to bring through talent that in later years will get us millions of dollars. So yeah.
All right. We move on to Spurs preview. Gonna say some obvious stuff really quick. They're seventh in the league with 42 points, 13-3-9. They most recently lost to Middlesbrough in the FA Cup 1-0. But then before that, they beat Leeds 4-0. I mean, join the club. A lot of people did. 1-0 loss to Burnley, and before that, 3-2 win over City, though. The only thing you can say about Spurs is they are equally as inconsistent as we are. I think we could see Lloris starting, Romero, Dyer, and Davies, Doherty. They run that three at the back. Højbjerg, Winks, Ryan Sessegnon, potentially. and then Kulusevski, Son, and Kane.
Mhm.
I think that's a potential look that you could see from them.
Mhm.
It's kind of a weird situation with them right now with Conte, just because he seems like he's frustrated with the team, um, but at the same time he also is a really good manager, and I think his
He's a
frustration,
winner.
yeah, he is, he is. Who do you think we're going to start?
I hope it's the same team that we played against City. Um,
That
I
is
think.
exactly what I wrote down.
Mhm. Um, it's all dependent on Miko's head, how he performs at Boreham. Um, I think him and John Joe's and probably Iwobi and Gray's. If we swap those out, it could be decent. But um, Gray is just coming back. He might get some minutes tomorrow. I'm kind of hoping not. I'm hoping there's a lot of players rested for Bournemouth, um, or Bournemouth, and
Or would.
but if we stick with the same and we have that same intensity, but the problem is our like our inconsistency as well, and our players being inconsistent. John Joe Kenny and Iwobi being two of them. I could see Iwobi dropping for Gray
Mm.
and Kenny dropping for Miko. So I would say they're the
Yeah.
only twos that aren't certain. I think DCL might come on later in the second half. I'm unsure about his
Yeah.
form and fitness.
Yeah. I had no disagreement there with like any of that. So prediction, really quick. What are you thinking?
I'm going to go 1-1 draw. Even though Spurs are 1 win, 1 loss, 1 win, 1 loss, I don't think. I think if we play like we did on Saturday, we'll at least put up a fight and give him it. Kulusevski's looked really good since he's signed for Spurs, and Kane and Son are finding that click again. So like it'll be miraculous, but I think a draw would be a 1-1. I think a 1-1.
I'm going to be bold.
Okay.
I have no idea why. Maybe it's because I think we're pissed off.
Mm.
I think we're angry. I
Mm-hmm.
think we're building a nice little chip on our shoulders.
Okay.
I'm gonna say a 1-0 win.
Okay.
I'm going for it. I I had an instinct for a 0-0 just because I feel like that happens with us and Spurs in the past. I feel like it's a historical score, that board draw with
Mm-hmm.
them. I feel like that's what we get with them, you know. Um, so I almost wrote that, but then I was like, you know what? I think we're going to take this one. I think we need points, and I think we're going to be
Mm-hmm.
fighting harder than they will.
Yep. Yep.
So
Um,
I hope so. We should be.
wouldn't it be class just to if it was Dele Alli to score the winner,
Yes, it would.
just like and he just runs over Daniel Levy and I don't know, just does something so wrong but yet so right. Yeah, just a yeah. I don't know. That'd be class to see. I think that'd be class to see. But then I fear for Tottenham because imagine that if it happens, Conte will just be like, you know what, these aren't the players for me, and that's why I think a lot of them are scared because they don't want to let Conte down. So I think they might put up a bit of a fight. That's why I went for the draw. But that would be amazing if it was a 1-0 win. That would really
I mean,
be amazing.
I I would say I don't think a lot of people are picking a 1-0 win. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like people are either picking a draw or a loss for us. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that would be the prevailing. So that's I don't know that what I'm saying is necessarily rooted in logic,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm predicting it.
Yep.
So anyway, that's it. That's the show.
Brilliant.
That's the welcome back show. All right. Anything else you want to throw onto the end before I do the ending spiel that I totally don't remember and hopefully I'm not going to screw up?
I mean, obviously, thanks again so much for having us back. It's really great to see you. It's great to like, I don't know, I've missed the show greatly. I'm sure as many others have. So yeah, again, really honoured to have me back on. Look forward to the other shows in the future. Uh, just want to say shout out to my daughter again, Poppy. Love you so much. My wife, my glorious wife, Chelsea. My mum, my sisters. Um, yeah, and aye, thanks again so much. Oh, Jake Holton, congratulations on the big promotion gig thing as well. So
Whoa,
yeah,
did that happen?
yeah, you got a big
I,
promo.
I didn't
Actually,
see that.
he had a job offer and his company matched it. So
Didn't know
yeah,
that.
so
Hey,
congrats, big
cool.
man.
I didn't know
So,
that. Congrats, Jake. That's awesome. Gonna have to talk to you about that next time. Any details? By the way, huge fan of number one when you said thanks for having us back. I think it's awesome that you refer to yourself and your beard in the you know the
it's brilliant.
we the plural sense. Thanks for having us back,
People
me and Fluffy.
people will never get that about the Scottish. We say, instead of like myself, we say us. Thanks for having us back. Like, it's
Yeah,
brilliant. And like, yeah,
yeah.
who's the rest of
I legit knew exactly what you, but I was just like, silly. So, but yeah, and I also love the way you thank everybody. It's very like Oscar speech sweet. Like it's just so nice. I'm just like, that's so sweet the way you do that. So yeah, I'm just like, crap, I'm
It's
not
funny
thanking
because I
enough
don't think
people. Shit.
any of them will be watching it. But
Just in
but
case. Just in case.
just in case.
They'll be
Yeah.
tickled, you know? Right on. In that case, thanks, mom and dad.
Yeah, indeed.
Never watched a show. My brother and my sister never watched a show. All my friends never watched a show. So yeah. Anyway, but yeah, thanks, man. Really appreciate you being on. It's always cool to talk to you. I missed the show too. I miss talking to my friends. All my blue friends from all over America. It's so this is cool to kind of get back in the swing of this, kind of getting back to being myself, which is nice. Just forged all these cool friendships over distance, and it's also kind of cool that eventually we get to hang out at some point, which will be rad. So that'll happen, and I'm so scared of the hangover I'm going to have after that.
You should be
Frightened. Also frightened of the fact that you think that I'm supposed to drink milk when I have one of those. Oh dear God.
I'm glad you. It's been lifelong. I can't remember how. It's just a cold glass of milk. Oh my Lord, it is heaven. The hangover.
Oh dear God. I trust you, but oh my God, it sounds scary. But anyway, thanks to Aaron Free, the Bowsy Toffee Tits, who's now a regular on the show. Thanks so much. Just want to say to everybody listening out there, if you're listening via podcast or you're checking out our YouTube channel, please subscribe to the Toffee Blues YouTube channel or the podcast. We'd really appreciate it. Please check out the Toffee Blues on Twitter, Facebook. That's a thing now. Faceback. I knew I would screw this up, but I didn't think it would be like Faceback. Follow the Toffee Blues on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever the hell we're on nowadays. And additionally, check out the Toffee Blues website. There's actually some merch on there now, the shirts and stuff. Pretty sweet. So check out, and there's all kinds of all things Everton content on there, written by some cool people like yourselves. Any last thoughts? Are we ready to roll?
I think we're golden. Up the Toffees.
Yeah. All right. This is hopefully after our dazzling 9-0 win over Boreham Wood. That's one take. Then and we're all saddened by our 6-0 loss to Boreham Wood. So either one of those, cut either one of those in, John. Either one of
Yeah,
those, just in
yeah.
case. So yeah, much love to everybody. Thanks for having me back. I'm glad to be back with the Everton folks. And yeah, let's get 3 points against Spurs coming up. Let's do it. We need it.
Please.
All right. Much love, everybody. Missed you. And onward. Bye.